So I'm here to talk about what it takes to become a drafting technologist, what you can expect in the field. So the first question is, how do you get in? There's a technical drafting diploma available at the colleges, and you learn the skills of technical drafting. And then at some point during that process, you also begin a practicum, which is like a work placement. And you spend some time in an office getting to know what you're in for before you actually jump in. What is the daily grind? So on a day-to-day basis, you spend most of your time drafting using a computer. Very often throughout the day, somebody will hand you a set of marked up drawings, which you will then execute. And you'll spend part of your day, or many of your days, coordinating those drawings with other consultant drawings. So depending on what particular field you're in, if you're in architecture, structural, mechanical, electrical, civil, all of those different consultants require drafting technologists. And so if you were in architectural drafting, you may spend part of your day coordinating your drawings with the consultants from the other disciplines. You may spend, you'll spend much of your time getting yourself acquainted with the National Building Code, which is always fun. And then what you'll do with that information is you'll analyze a building based on the code requirements that assist you in doing your daily job. You'll attend client meetings to discuss the projects that you're working on and give your input from a technical point of view, and often even a design point of view. And then just the general office duties of filing and paperwork and all of those kind of more general duties. So with regards to variety in your day, as each project goes through the design process, there are various stages that it goes through, and every project is kind of on its own timeline, and so in all likelihood, each day you're working on something different, or you're working on a different part of a project. And so there's quite a bit of variety. And it's quite collaborative. So you'll spend a good part of your day speaking with the team members, because virtually all of these projects are done not in isolation, but with a team of people. So on a daily basis, you're chatting with the people that you're working with the other team members, and then there's some independent work as well. So what do you need? You need technical drafting skills, for start. It's great if you have some office skills going in. The practicum will help with that. Interpersonal skills, because you spend a lot of your day talking and working with others. It's great to have some comfort on that level. And a basic knowledge of construction is great. It's not necessary, because you will learn a lot of that on the job, but it will be helpful. Why technical drafting? For me, it was, I got some exposure to drafting at the high school level. So we had a course in graphics and drafting. And I also have family members in the industry. So that started my passion for it. And then I pursued it to this point. Have things changed in the industry? This is kind of a big one. The pace has increased. Back in the days of manual drafting, and that's even where I started, there was a very, very defined pace, and with the advent of email and internet, it has become almost a breakneck speed. So the expectation for communication has increased. No longer are you picking up a phone and leaving a message. You're emailing, and you're emailing, and you're researching all on the web, and the transfer of information is just so quick now, and the expectations are in line with that. The computer programs, of course, have evolved, and each time the programs evolve a bit, you'll have to evolve your knowledge of that program and how it works. And I kind of touched on research methods have changed. So once upon a time, we would go to a catalog library and try and dig up the information you need, or mail something to somebody. That's not the case anymore. So everything is online, and or virtually everything is online. And so that has changed research methods a fair bit. What related job experience do you need? Some exposure in high school is great, and some office experience, of course, is great. But the bottom line is just the willingness to learn, because there is a gap between what you learn at the technical college and what happens in the actual office. And so we spend the first few years bridging that gap, and it's all on the job learning, and it's fun. It's great because you get to expand your skill set and touch on things that they can't get to in the compressed college courses. So how can you advance? So most people start as a junior technician, moving on to a senior technician, and then often into an actual project management role where you're in charge of teams of other draftsmen, and you're coordinating the projects in that way. So depending on where you are in that process, you may have, your responsibilities will increase. So what kind of skills should you have? The ability to adapt and learn quickly, the ability to put in the extra time or effort that's often required, confidence speaking about the technical issues that you're drawing, and that comes with experience. Confidence interacting and speaking with the clients, the consultants, and your team members. And so just really the ability to communicate well, so speed and efficiency are also key. What you learn in your technical drafting course is a skill set for how to do your job, but you will spend the next 1 to 3 years actually becoming efficient at it, and that's where the job becomes really exciting, because the programs themselves are really powerful, and really they open up as when you first draw the first line, you realize the potential for what you're doing, and how much power you really have with the CAD programs. So future skills. Future skills that you might need or want. This would be this would be mostly self-driven, because of course it's not a part of the curriculum for the drafting technologist. But if you can gain some skills in the 3D world, whether it's using Revit or the building information management systems that are available, the industry is definitely making its way towards that, and the expectations of the clients are also making their way towards that. It's not, as I said, it's not something you'll gain as experience in the drafting technologist field, education, but it is something that you may touch on in the field. What kind of office culture can you expect? Well, this really does vary sort of from office to office. We try and have a respectful office environment. It's a bit of a dichotomy. You're kind of dressing for an office environment, and then the next minute you are on a construction site and you're in steel toes and a hard hat. And also client meetings. So you may be in or out of your own office for client meetings. The dress code, again, kind of varies from office to office. Business casual is sort of the party line. But some people take a more formal approach and others more casual. The hours of work vary. Really, it is kind of an 8 to 5 job. But because of the nature of the industry and how deadlines have a habit of falling all at the same time, often you will be putting in a lot of time outside of those hours. And then most offices offer a general set of benefits, healthcare plans, and that sort of thing, which you can usually obtain after a probationary period. So travel and overtime. Travel is, you can usually expect some travel in the job. Right now in Manitoba, there's a lot of growth in some of the smaller communities. So Brandon and Virden, Selkirk are all building. There's all kinds of projects happening outside of Winnipeg, and so you may travel by car to a job site outside of the city. You might be flying to another province. So if you have registered architects in the practice you're working who are, or engineers who are working outside of the province, then you may be called upon to go to a job site outside, and even outside of the country. So there's always the potential for that. And over time, as I said, it happens often. There's a real ebb and flow to the industry, and so sometimes you're filling your day with some more mundane tasks. Other days you are absolutely in go time. Everything you have to put all of your energy into what you're doing, and then the job may take more than the regular 8 to 5. So what parts of this job are going to make you snore? Some of the finer construction document referencing can be really tedious and mundane, but there's 2 ways to look at it. So often in this job, you have to be focused, and you have to pay all of your attention to the job. Other times, you can when you're doing these sort of more mundane tasks, you can actually kind of turn off a bit. And so I actually kind of enjoy that part of my job because I don't get to enjoy it much. And so when I get the opportunity to kind of turn off and just work diligently, I actually kind of enjoy it. Some people may find it tedious. And I guess, one of the tough things about the job is that you are sitting at your desk for 8 hours a day, with the exception of those times when you're either traveling or you're in meetings and that sort of thing. So prepare yourself for a lot of hours of staring at a computer screen. What is the hiring process? It's much like any job. There's a resume review we go through. We may contact colleges, so if we need employees, we may contact the colleges and ask them if they've got anybody available or in need of the practicum stage, and then just by word of mouth. So often somebody will say, my friend is looking for a job, and we just go through the interview process, and in-person interviews, and then a probationary period, which hopefully is followed by full-time employment. And there are many different methods of employment too, anywhere from part-time to full-time, which again vary from firm to firm. So future industry changes. Well, of course, it's our hope that the demand will increase due to a vibrant economy. So we want to see these more of what's happening in the smaller communities in Manitoba right now, but of course we also want to see this growth, this excellent growth in Winnipeg, continue. My advice to you, have some patience. As I mentioned, you will learn a skill set in college which you will then apply in the industry, but it takes many years to really get efficient, and that takes a bit of patience. So at first it will feel like you're doing your job with mitts on, and everything feels quite slow. But as you gain experience, you'll get very quick at it, and then you'll start to really enjoy the job. I do recommend actually going and hanging out in an office for the day. It doesn't have to be an architectural office. It could be any of the engineering offices. Anybody who hires drafting technologists, I think that you'll gain some insight into what your colleagues are doing and what you can expect on the job. And then ask yourself these questions: Do you like to draw? Do you have interest in buildings? Do you have interest in the construction industry? And is this something that you think you can do?